My name is Saborn Va. I'm the Assistant Scoutmaster for Troop 1262. I was born in Cambodia in the late 1970s, during a time when the Khmer Rouge was ruling the country. So the Khmer Rouge is a communist regime. So they took over the country around 1975, I think. Killed tons of people. I think they killed about a quarter of the population. When the Vietnamese invaded our little town, the Khmer Rouge, the communist regime, and the Vietnamese were fighting against each other. And so my mom, grabbed me and just took off running. People were shooting at us, but you can hear the bullets flying by her ears. Here's my mom pregnant with my sister, saw this ditch and threw me into the ditch. And as the bullets was flying by, she decided, she's gonna cover me in case I get hit with the bombs or the bullets. And so she laid there with her pregnant belly on top of me until the shooting started dying down. And when it did, got back up again and started running again, crossed the river, ended up in Thailand. And from Thailand, we went to another refugee camp in the Philippines, stayed there for another year or year and a half, and from the Philippines, came to America. Scouting played a huge role in my life when I was younger, and it just played an enormous role. I mean, if you can imagine, refugees, I grew up in a refugee community, grew up in a very poor community, pretty much the ghetto. And just like with any projects, there's a lot of crimes, there's a lot of drugs, there's a lot of just chaos, really. I was able to avoid all that stuff because of Scouts. So Scouting had a huge impact on me because it gave me an opportunity to do something besides hanging out and getting into trouble, right? Besides staying home and playing video games. About 8 years ago, 2 local leaders were visiting a number of these refugees, a number of these kids in poorer communities, and finding that they're getting into a lot of trouble, visiting them in jail. And so one of them said to the other, says, you know what, we need to start scouting here in Salt Lake City. And so this little troop that they started just to help kids get out of trouble has now turned into this, about 100 kids. So because of that, the leaders here in Salt Lake City, the governor and some of the folks who works with refugees says, why don't you start off other troops in the city? And now a year later, they have about 10 troops. It's about 250 boys from all over the world as refugees. And it is growing really fast. I mean, by the end of this year, we'll probably have 500 kids. By next year, I don't know, we'll probably double that number again. Recruiting for us has been fairly easy in the refugee community. You'll find that in most of these poor communities and most of these minority communities, everybody knows everybody. And so when one kid gets involved, almost always the rest of the community gets involved. The boys are the ones that's actually going out and saying, hey guys, look at what I'm doing. Come and hang out with us. We would love to have you.